Hey, welcome back to another Meta Monday. This week we are joined by Fake Muse. Welcome, Fake Muse.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So last week you came in fourth place with this free-to-play nature deck. How many wins did you get? 22? Or
At 23 wins.
23, sorry. Still in your short
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
So there.
yeah. I gotta get those packs, man. 'Cause I think I
I
got 5 legendary packs. That's not bad for the new set.
Nice. All done with a free deck. So there are a few, just three Trial of the Gods cards in here, but of course you can earn those by playing in the weekend ranked. If people don't have those, we can give them some suggestions for alternatives. But so let's go over the deck real quick. So it's a nature deck. The highest cost card in this deck is 5 mana. So of course this is like hyper aggro, right? Tell us a little bit about the deck.
Yeah, so the whole idea behind the deck is you want to get the board early and you want to maintain your edge on the board and you want to kill your opponent before they can get to 6 mana and Astral Implosion you, ideally. Just a thought there. But yeah, speed is the basics here. You want to just maintain. If you can get the board early, you can dictate the trades the entire game. Then good things usually happen. And we've got some cards in here like Ordinary Goat, for instance, which highly benefit if you can get control of the board. Then anything your opponent plays takes 2 damage immediately. If you're able to get a wide board, especially in this nature meta, where we're looking at the meta where 30 to 40% of people are playing nature every week, if you can get a wide board, then their canopy barrages are going to be pretty unreliable as well.
Mm.
So there's a lot of good things that can happen if you can just win the early games. And really, this deck, when I talk about it, I say try to win the first 3 turns. And if you can win the first 3 turns, usually you've got a good chance to win the game.
And now, so I would say probably one of the easiest ways to win the first 3 turns. I'm assuming that one of the things you're hard mulliganing for is some of these Marshwalkers and either Chiron or Shield Bearer.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you look at that one spot in particular, the Marshwalkers, even a Sail Weaver plus Chiron or Shield Bearer is a very good effective play for turn 1 because it's no longer vulnerable to Axewoman and is not vulnerable to any spells. So that's just a 3/3 that with Ward that you just can't really deal with super easy. So if you can get that as an open, obviously Wild Hog with a buff on it is pretty annoying as well.
So Chiron, even though it has regen and give -1 durability to your opponent's relic, you would still recommend dropping this on turn 1?
Yeah, in a majority of situations, it definitely would be the card usually it's the play to drop it on turn 1. The +1/+1 is the main idea behind the card.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few exceptions that you might consider, like for instance, if you're facing a death deck and you have other options on turn 1 than to just play that, then you can sometimes bait out a Skull Scepter and get even more value out of Chiron. If you can eat those Skull Scepter, then the death players are just not going to be too happy about that situation.
Yeah, that's a good point because I ran into a lot of Skull Scepters this weekend, and it seems to be making a big comeback. So hadn't seen it for a while, but now it's real popular. And Chiron removes that 1 durability. That's all you need for a Skull Scepter. So that's a great point there. And then how do you win turn 2? You're just looking to get these skeleton heavies, these black jags. You got your Fey Flame Blade.
Part of this also depends on whether or not you're going first or second. Like if you're going second, then something like a Vanguard Axewoman, which is very reactive, or a Fey Flame Blade, which is very reactive as well, increases in value to me because they're going to be usually ahead on the board after turn 1 because they're getting to play first.
Mm-hmm.
So something that can counter the board would be ideal. While if you're going first, then just being greedy, stuff like Skeleton Heavy is really nice. Black Jaguar is always a very solid play if you can just drop that there on curve too.
Okay, and then so let's talk real quick. Well, once we get the wide board, of course, we got the Bladefly. And Bladefly we have to talk about because this card is probably, I would say, one of the biggest win conditions in the deck. Is that right?
It's annoying. It's kind of weird because sometimes this deck gets so wide quick so fast that blade fly can't even be played on curve because I'm already too wide.
Interesting.
Usually that's a good sign if that's the case.
Right.
But for me, blade fly, a lot of times its biggest use is just to reflood the board after the inevitable board wipe by our opponent.
Hmm.
You're facing a magic deck, for instance. They're going to wipe your board. But having the blade fly available is going to help you go wide very, very quickly right after they just wipe your board.
Yeah.
And a lot of times by turn 4, we're going to already be 5 or 6 wide anyways. So the blade fly is just kind of another way to go wide after they've already dealt with your board.
Okay. And then, of course, we have Fire Wine, which gives +2 strength to all your creatures and overkill until end of turn. And this is just a nice finisher. Once you've got a real wide board, they're getting low on health. You drop Fire Wine, you win the game.
Yeah, it's a pet card of mine. It's questionable. I wouldn't say that it's necessary. It can also dictate some value trades as well. If your opponent has, for instance, a big front line such as a Minotaur Phalanx, being able to play a Fire Wine will help you only lose a couple of minions instead of maybe losing your whole side.
Okay.
So it can help value trade as well.
So let's talk real quick about the Trial of the Gods cards. If someone doesn't have any Trial of the Gods cards, there's not necessarily one-to-one replacements, but what could you replace maybe an Ornery Goat with?
Yeah, Ordinary Goat, and this goes with the same thing with the Moonhound right below, which is a legend. Like just Hunt Wardens, 3 mana, 3/4 are solid stats for cost that most people should have. And there's this also the Dune Cavalry, which I believe is a welcome set card. Or no, wait, no, that's a core card. But
Yep.
Either of those 3 mana, 3/4 stat line creatures are just going to be solid replacement.
And then you have, so for Chiron, I'm thinking, I mean, there's no one-to-one replacement, but I feel like this deck could use Best Friends. How do you feel about Best Friends?
Friends. Best Friends was something that I had tested with this deck, and it just hadn't worked excellent. For me, it just was flooding the board with some maybe lower quality minions, and a lot of times it was just it's a one drop that you don't play on turn 1, which is kind of weird. It just it didn't flow greatly. My recommendation, if you don't have a Chiron, is to maybe look at something like an Athenian Archer or Trial Spirit, which helps you either helps build your board or contest the board. I think both of those are pretty solid. And Best Friends isn't a terrible card here either.
Yeah. And then for the Jagstaff, maybe replacing this with other smaller relics, perhaps, like a Staff of Roots or another Faithflame Blade?
Yeah, I personally am such a huge fan of Faithflame. I like it a lot more than Staff of Roots. So if you could add a second one of those, that's definitely a consideration. If you don't have the Faithflames, those are hard opens being core epics. You could definitely look at Staff of Roots, which is a solid card as well. You do get the 1/1 minion, which is nice. Usually the turn you play it too, so it's pretty solid.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take this deck for a spin and see how it goes. All right, we got ourselves a mirror match. So I take it you most of the time want to be playing Animal Bond with this deck.
With this deck, I pick Animal Bond every time unless I'm played against a Deception deck, particularly Hidden Rush Deception. If you're spying on your opponent and know what you're up against, having an easy answer to Shadow of Letheodon is pretty nice. But other than that, Animal Bond is a good default.
Yeah. All right, so what do you like in the mulligan? Yeah.
The first thing I noticed, you got 4 chargers remaining, which
so
means
we're
you're
going second.
So I like reactive cards. So the Axewoman is something I like. I probably get rid of the Canopy Barrage. It's just a little bit awkward if your opponent. And then, I don't like the Goat either. Okay, the Hog is solid. I usually get greedy here and get rid of the Skeleton Heavy, hoping that I pick up a Shield Bearer type of buff. I don't need the 3 cost things. Since the deck is so low curve, you can mulligan things that you normally wouldn't mulligan. And here, this is a pretty solid mulligan. You've got the Walker and the Hog for turn 1. It's a solid turn 1 open. And since you're going second, you don't have to be greedy with those mana pips at all.
Right.
Which is pretty nice. And the Vanguard Axewoman's very nice as a reactionary play for next turn. There's a good chance that, depending on what their hog does, that your Axewoman can just pick off their hog. And maybe we can get control of the board going second. And if you can get control of the board, dropping the goat could really be a swing moment in this game. But here, I would expect our opponent to either have a canopy barrage or something.
Yeah. He's thinking. So we've got a Ranger first bow in the Sanctum. Oh, he's going to bag out a Mana Garmer.
Interesting he didn't attack. I think here it's interesting if we can have the hog hit their hog, then we're going to be able to remove that and get value out of the canopy barrage. And it's nice that, you know, on stream, you know, you're able to have the hog obey us. Sometimes and sometimes in reality it's not that kind, but that's a huge barrage there. You've got 2 creatures on the board and now they've got 1.
Yeah. All right, but we've got a couple answers here.
Reestablishing the board. Yeah, usually I want to use all my mana, but here there's not a really great way to do that. I mean, I do like the Marshwalker taking out a 1/1, and then what we've got to decide is, do we want to lay the goat down, or do we want to just Axewoman and Drider? I think what I would do here is lay the goat and Drider, and just hope that next turn we don't get wrecked. The idea here is. The idea here is if his hog hits the Drider, then he needs something to answer the goat. Okay, this is not good. If the goat hits the correct spot, yeah,
that hurts.
That is tough. But even here.
And he 50-50. Oof.
Yeah, that turn did not go well. But even here, we can actually get the board with the Bladefly.
Yeah.
And that was a good top deck, actually. And then take out their 1/1, and what are they really going to do? They're going to, I mean, the hog is probably going to run into something. Leech Life is very likely to pick off 1, but, you know, we're hoping to maybe establish a wider board here.
Yeah, and we're pretty close to this
maybe get things
Ranger as well.
That or the Basilisk. We don't know which one of those we want yet. Really.
Yeah. Ooh, a Jagstaff.
And the Jagstaff is great value here. If you can definitely get that on the board, hopefully one of our Bladeflies, I think, is better to hit there.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, both miss, so I think they want the Drider to trade in.
So we lose our ward.
And I guess you could. Yeah, you lose the ward creature, leaves us more exposed to some things they can do to us. But even here, what we're looking at here is we've got 7 health on the board.
Now, I
see you're hovering over the Sanctum.
Yeah, I don't want him to steal my relic, but he is shy by quite a bit.
I don't think that there's any way for him to really.
Yeah.
If he killed all 3 of your creatures, he could buy it, but there's no way he could kill all 3 of your creatures, buy it, and play it the same time.
Oh, he had his own copy. Oh.
They just played that back-to-back turns, if my memory serves correct. So here, I think what we look at is we try to see where the Jaguar goes first. If the Jaguar hits, then we can buy the Archer from the Sanctum and go ahead and finish that deal off. But, okay, so a lot of times you just don't know where those Jags are going to go either.
Yeah, it's
the risky thing
50-50.
is... Yeah, the risky thing going with the Bladefly is if the first Bladefly hits and the second doesn't, then it's kind of awkward.
Right.
I like here the Wild Hog and the God Power.
Yeah,
keeping the Axewoman as a reactive option. Also, we're going to be running out of steam here pretty soon. I'll only have 1 card left in the hand. The entire deck costs 5 or less mana, so we're going to be able to play anything.
Yeah, people got to make sure they mash this God Power. Don't forget about it, otherwise you'll run out of cards. And he got the one with the most health.
Wow. Yeah, that was a pretty good RNG turn there. Ooh, love seeing the goat here because we have the board now, and Definitely consider the Sanctum purchase here. Saw you hovering over the Basilisk.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Basilisk
Plus the goat.
plus the goat here.
Yeah, it's so much
is
health.
really grabbing the board here. Yeah, and when you get control like this, and nature in particular, I mean, he could have if they have enchanted vines, they've got enchanted vines. We're probably doomed regardless of what we do. But it doesn't feel like they have enchanted vines. They probably would have played it by now.
Right.
So that's really the key card here. And the cool thing here is the goat's already going to hit two damage there. So here's a situation where you can either just give them the Basilisk, which is a solid idea here, I think, because that allows us to go wider, just playing Axewoman, Walker, and God Power. Or you can take a gamble with the Bladefly and try to have a higher quality on board. Either play works out pretty good here.
Okay, I like trading in the Basilisk here to go even wider.
Yeah, I mean, going 6 wide against nature, there is very little punish you. I mean, granted, there is Wildfire, but enchanted vines only hit 4 creatures.
Yeah, if he has a Wildfire, I think we're just in trouble no matter what. So.
Okay, I can do this.
The goat.
They've got a good.
And that takes 2 damage automatically.
All right, yeah. Here, I definitely like attacking with the confused creatures first, just to see where we stand.
Okay.
Well, okay, not the goat.
Not the goat. We want to keep the goat alive.
Yeah, for sure. And okay,
maybe we trade.
That didn't work out. Yeah, probably give up the Ranger first bow. That's fine.
Then maybe buff the.
Ideally, it would have been great to hit.
I mean, buffing this is nice too.
Actually, I like to buff the broccoli. Is probably nicer.
Yeah, this guy's got regen.
Yeah, usually the broccoli loves going in, and here you.
Just gonna grab this
sneakily
free
Sanctum room. That's That's one thing with this deck is when you get to board a large quantity of small minions, you're gonna have tons of plays in the Sanctum throughout the game. And yeah, our opponent has nothing better to do here than to concede.
Very nice.
So that's basically how the deck is supposed to work. We had struggles that game because we went second, and that's usually what you do not want to do. But I mean, even going second, we're able to get control of the board and able to come back from that slightly slow start.
Yeah, very nice. So you guys can actually check out Fake Muse on Twitch at twitch.tv/FakeMews9. And thank you so much for joining us for Meta Monday.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, man. I watch your videos every week.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.